What up, Will? What did you draw on the mic coming in with the vibe check? Because it's been a while since I've done these, but EX9, Bandai be cooking. This was going to be literally a box I was going to swerve, but now it's got me locked in a little bit because it's got some awesome, I mean awesome, puppet support that has been introduced, and it's got me going. Seriously, nearly bust a nut. So in this video, we're going to go over my take on these cards, and also just a cheeky little deck build that I'm cooking up, and just kind of, you know, mind dumping on you guys, because I mean, why not cook together, right? So if this is the video for you, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel, like what you see, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I do videos on the reg. So let's just dive in here. So we do have Mirai, who is Arissa's sister. She don't play Digimon that much, but for some reason she's got absolutely cracked cards and absolutely supporting the archetype, which hasn't had much love through the current like sets that we've had, but this is just absolutely mind-blowing what these cards do. So let's start off with the level 3. So level 3 right now is a free drop, which is great. It does cost 1 on top of a purple and yellow, but also Digivolves on top of a Karamon for 0. So our main egg is going to be Karamon for real. And it does have an on-play. By trashing 1 card in your hand, you may return 1 Digimon card with puppet trait from your trash to your hand. So great recursion, and we've seen this quite common even in like the Owen archetype with the Agumon. Similar thing, but that's obviously specific to kind of your reptile Digimon, where obviously with this we do have it with Hanimon. The awesome thing on this card, which inheritable is just so good, is that opponent's turn, once per turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks, by deleting 1 of your other Digimon, end that attack. Just no. Just like stop. Not going for my security. Gonna pop one of my Digimon. So it could be literally anything, Digimon tokens, etc. Because a token is classed as a Digimon when it's actually spawned. Just end it, which is a very powerful inheritable to have on a level 3. The thing that is rather interesting is that obviously in BT22 we do have a new Shumon, and this is the kind of effect which I probably would have kind of had on that Shumon, but now they've actually incorporated into this, so Shumon's going to have a completely different effect for that, which could be really spicy and could set the precedent for obviously the rookies of the Liberator Protac. So it's going to be interesting what they do. This is an absolutely solid card in terms of recursion, and inheritable is absolutely great. And also another thing, it is puppet and Liberator trait there as well, so that consistency is just going to stay true. Which obviously for puppets is really strong. Like the consistency has always been solid in that archetype, and it still literally remains. So absolutely solid. So then going over to the level 4 is Kokushimon, and this one's not too bad. It's a play cost of 4, which is good because we do have particular cards that do play basically just a Liberator trait card for a play cost of 4, so that fits the bill. It does Digivolve on top of a puppet for the cost of 2, which is absolutely fine. And if you're just going to run it out of archetype, or if you do want to kind of pass over memory to the opponent, you could literally evo for the cost of 3 if you do want to. It has got when Digivolving and on deletion, which I wish it did have an on play. On play would have probably served it a little bit better, but even with when Digivolving, you know, it just gives an ability to, 1, by trashing 1 card in our hand, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn. So getting rid of those cheeky floodgates is going to be really helpful, because we don't want a floodgate that can effectively stop us playing Digimon cards by effects. We do not want that at all. So having that on a level 4 is really nice, especially on when Digivolving. Also on deletion there as well, so if we do happen to have one of these and we do happen to delete that off one of our effects, effectively we can neg 4 off for the opponent's Digimon, which is always great. And it has a similar inheritable as the level 3, so one thing you'll find is that the level 3 and level 4 have the same inheritable, so depending on your whiteboard you can stop quite a multiple of attacks swinging at your face, which is always great. And also depending on what you're deleting, you can also essentially board control there as well, which is once again beautiful. So level 4, very solid. This one, level 5, this is where it gets really nuts, and definitely what the deck needed. So it's Karikurumon. So on top of a puppet, Evo for free, which is once again solid. Or if you do want to just pass over turn, you can obviously Evo for the cost of 4 there as well if you want to do some choke shenanigans, but probably you do not want to. It does have an on-play, and when digivolving, so very interesting, it does have the on-play there, because that's where the tamer really comes in and can set up some cheeky shenanigans depending on how wide you've got your board. So by deleting one of your tokens or other puppet trait Digimon, this Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with puppet trait in hand without paying the cost. Huge, absolutely huge. Some of the things that puppets kind of struggle with is the top end memory cost. Like Cinderella EX9, stellar card, really strong. Evo 4 is where it's a little bit steep. It's where it can get a bit annoying. This absolutely fixes that, but it does require you to kind of set up in order for you to kind of get the benefit of this, which is absolutely fine. We do have the promo Shoo, which is fantastic. Definitely cop those now, because they are gonna go they're gonna get sold straight out with, obviously, with this card. So as long as you got that in combo into this, you're definitely going into your level 6 for free without no problem. And then on top of that, same inheritables that we see from the starter deck Chaperone and also the EX7 Chaperone, is that when this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by your effects, by deleting one of your token or other puppet trait Digimon, it doesn't leave once per turn. Beautiful, absolutely fantastic. And I love the consistency right there of just having that, because it just means that our top end of those is going to be quite safe to any effects that the opponent might throw at us. So a banging card, absolutely banging. Then, if it couldn't get any better, we've got the Puppet Brigadramon up in here. So we've got Kagayamon. Freaking hell, butchered that one. So play cost of 12, Evo on top of a purple and yellow for the cost of 4, but you can also Evo on top of a puppet for the cost of 3, which is massive, because this card is pretty packed with a whole lot of sauce. So I'm very surprised that this is a free cost to drop, because all turns, all of your token and puppet trait Digimon gain alliance and blocker. Massive, absolutely massive. All turns, once per turn. When other Digimon are deleted, so that could be any Digimon, not necessarily ours, just any Digimon on the field, delete one of your opponent's lowest level Digimon. Amazing board control right there. It is an all turns. Beautiful. And then end of your turn, once per turn, you may play one level 4 or lower puppet traded Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost. Bandai went in on this one. This is an absolute powerhouse, and is exactly the side Evo that the deck needed for that kind of stability and control. The control of this is huge. It's absolutely mental that this costs us free to Evo into, but I absolutely love it. So the direction now is pretty much you want to kind of get into this first, and then get into Cinderella, and you're pretty much cooking from that point. Like, you are going to be eating for real. Just having alliance and blocker on all Digimon is huge. Like, that's another thing that was a bit of a weakness. Obviously, we did have starter deck Cinderella, which was okay to a degree, but really power crept. No, the token generation was very solid, banging out 2 tokens when digivolving, but then that was it. That was it, and it was a blocker. The fact that this is just granting all of our puppets as tokens blocker is huge, because our tokens, effectively, when it's undeleted, we get to minus 3k off of a Digimon, and then if we have EX7 Orisa out, we can effectively bring out another puppet Digimon in replacement right there, get their own plays, and then that's still a blocker if this is still on the field. Honestly, definitely a fantastic card right here. And then Mirai herself is really good. Like, actually reading the card, I was like, pause. This is quite nutty, and how you can effectively get 2 level 6s out with this card alone. So it's a play cost of 3, which is absolutely fine. On play, it is a searcher, which is even better. So real top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with puppet or liberated trait amongst them, and then bot deck the rest, which is brilliant. You know, just a nice little kind of consistency piece, free dropper, which is fantastic. But this is where it gets even more dirty, guys. Your turn. When any of your Digimon digivolve into a puppet trait Digimon, by returning this tamer to the bottom of the deck, you may play one Orisa, Kinasagi, or one puppet trait Digimon card from your hand with the play cost reduced by 3. So initially when I read this, I thought it was just like a level 3 puppet trait Digimon. No. Any puppet trait Digimon, and just reduce that by 3. Guys, BT22's coming, and there's a possibility we're getting a Sendrel Ace. 9 times out of 10, trying to think it might be an 8 drop, 7 drop. We're going to be banging that out for 4 with this alone, which is crazy. Also as well, this can help us just literally drop out a level 5 for 4 cost. So depending on how our memories sitting, we can literally get into Sindrel, not a problem. Right there. Absolutely nutty card. Really strong. To say she don't play Digimon, she freaking locked in. She locked in right there. So what's my thoughts to the overall support? Crazy good. Like, really good. The power ceiling is just massively increased for puppets, just with these cards alone. I think maybe the weakest one out of the bunch is probably the level 4, but even then, it's not that weak. It's still a pretty good, strong card, because realistically, if you wanted to kind of control the field, you know, negging 4k off of a Digimon is pretty freaking huge, or really helps out for you to hit higher DP thresholds when you kind of evoing up, because obviously each battle's not always going to be the same. You're gonna have to do something different, or like to, you know, to obviously get rid of the opponent's Digimon and so forth. So I do like how we can obviously neg 4 off that. I do wish it was kind of a non-play, but at least it's on a deletion, and I think this is probably going to be more of those kind of Digimon that you want to delete to effectively, you know, either prevent an attack from happening, maybe delete a rookie, which is always going to be solid right there. But the level 5 is that'd be crazy. The level 5 is strong. The level 5 is very strong, because the issue was, it's just like Cinderella, like I say, is a strong card, but it's really like 9 times out of 10 you're passing turn, so you can never get the when attacking off twice. And when you are getting the when attacking off twice, you know, deleting 12k is freaking beautiful, absolutely beautiful, right there. So yeah, this support is banging. So let's go over to what I've kind of been pre-cooking in the lab, like Breaking Bad, and kind of walk you through just the initial draft. This is not like, yo, yeah, this is the golden source. This is just initial draft from, you know, me piloting Syndra for quite a long time. It's probably one of my main decks, to, you know, incorporating the new support and just kind of give you my takes of like the direction that I may go in. So, you know, usually I'm a pretty mainstay of the EX9 Kairamon, but I think now that we do have Alliance, I don't think it's necessarily needed. And I think because we are going to be, you know, building that a bit more wide, I think this just kind of, you know, having additional draw is going to be just vital for us, and that right here. So I've gone now with the draw egg, which makes complete sense. Obviously, your standard shoes are going to be, you know, the EX7 shoe, that's still kind of prime, but just because that reduction of Evo cost is always going to be helpful. Inevitable is always solid. I have knocked down the promo shoe to 2 instead of the usual 4, just obviously make room for the obviously additional support that we have. I still value promo shoe just because that inevitable does come up quite a bit, just to kind of push the thresholds of DP minus in one of the opponent's Digimon, and then this on play is actually quite a clutch there too, depending on how wide they've got. Just negging one of the security attacks off is going to be helpful for us. Just means that they really cannot make any form of dent in our security, because I think now we are leaning more to pretty much a control-esque style versus the kind of the aggro, which I kind of think is probably the play, because I feel like in this day and age, like, unless you've got some form of protection, aggro can really kind of shift the tide in terms of what you bump into in their security. Royal Knight's prime example is just like freaking absolute mirror force action. You just go in and suddenly somehow you're the one who's in a bad position. They've got a freaking Omnimon X out absolutely doing massive damage at you. So it's like, yeah, kind of being a bit more control base is where it's kind of heading. Obviously you're gonna be using your standard searcher. This is obviously just able for you to get your cards. Obviously netting 2 cards is always gonna be helpful on the reveal, and then the inevitable once again just shrinking that security Digimon by additional 3. And then we have implemented the new Hanimon. We have put that to 3. Ideally, this is probably the card that you want to have at the start. You want to have this in your stack, because that inheritable is going to be huge in order for you to kind of stop those attacks whilst controlling the field. So that's why I've actually bumped it to 3, because realistically I want to be using my shoes for some other kind of plays and shenanigans. So then going into level 4s, this is going to be a massive playmaker. This is a must, absolute must. It is too cracked to not have in, and really facilitates the new level 5 play in order for you to turbo up into your level 6. The fact that this is just once is a 4 play cost, so it does kind of interact with some of our Digimon that we can utilize this. And then also as the 1 play, and also when digivolving, and that's one that's going to get your familiar token out until the end of the opponent's turn, and then it does have to blow up. Barrier, once again, is also huge there too. So then we don't run the EX9 Shushu, more because I feel like the way the meta's shifting, unless I can push up to get to my top end, I don't really feel comfortable pushing up, evoing, getting a tamer out, and then just kind of sitting on a level 5, or passing over a lot of memory. I'd rather just not do that. Whereas I do value the starter deck Shushu. I know a lot of people don't really necessarily like this card. The reason why I like this is because that if it is in security, I can effectively play whatever level 3, 4, or tamer I want off this. Whereas the other one, effectively I can get my Rissa out, that's fine, but I can't get my Mirai out, which is unfortunate. Also, it does have Overclock, which I think Overclock, now that we could possibly have Alliance, is going to be pretty huge in order for you to do some massive chips at the opponent. It does come up pretty clutch. Like, it's helped me out a lot of times, and I do think that you are going to be a little bit on the back foot early, and then when you push out an established board, then effectively what's going to happen there is that the opponent's going to have a hard time right there. So if you can get value off your security, you know, this is definitely the card to do it. And that means that effectively you've got a good, 7 cards that can effectively give you absolute benefit from just being procs from security from Digimon alone. And then we do run the Kokoshimon. We just run that currently at 2. Like I say, realistically, we want Hanimon in our actual, like, our main stack. This, it be a, you know, additional benefit, but not an absolute must. But I do like that it does have the undeletion. We can basically neg 4k if we have to, but also when digivolving there too. So if we do have to have those kind of awkward plays that we just want to kind of make sure that we're outing their possible ace play from their level 5, at least we can actually push the threshold in order to kind of delete that. So then we go over to the level 5s. So level 5s at the moment, I've actually lowered this down a little bit, only because realistically our main playmaker play is going to be us using a new level 5. This is still a solid one to obviously get those puppets out, but I think this really depends on what your board state is looking like in terms of, have you set up properly, have you got the right plays going, in order for you to kind of get up into your level 6 and still keep turn okay. So this is where effectively I've gone more into a bit more of a control style, and this is actually where I've kind of gone with my BT21 build, is kind of leaning more on this. Once again, adding that further control element and just being able just to kind of, you know, either neg 3k or neg 6k, and then on top of obviously the new level 4, effectively I could, depending on obviously my board state, on basically not even my board state, not all of the board. If there's 3 Digimon in total, possibly I could neg up to 10k, which once again, that is probably like definitely ultimate's gone and possibly a very low level, a low DP mega possibly. So I do like this, because also as well, if I have to evo him back, I'll just evo him back. It is what it is. It's not optimal, but it is what it is. But with this on top of the tamer, obviously reducing that evo cost, the play cost by 4, getting this out and possibly once again getting the on play there as well is going to help us out pretty nicely for us to effectively kind of turbo into our, or get at least another level 6 out on the field. Then obviously this is going to be just an easy 4-off. This is the playmaker. This is the card that you want to be having in your hand at the most times. Nothing more to be said there. Going to be huge, but there's pretty much cool interactions that you can do with the tamer setup that I do currently have. So then we go over to the level 6s. So it's a 3-3 split. I feel like Cinderella is still a very powerful card, and I think now that we are able to kind of keep turn, I think this is going to help out a lot. I'm not saying it wasn't helping out before, but I think the issue is that every time you kind of go into this, you cannot pass in turn. So you're only going to basically either delete a 9k because obviously you're going to overclock, you're going to pop a familiar token, that's 3k, then 6. Depending on your inheritables, that's where it gets kind of further boosted up. But now that if we keep in turn, we can effectively be deleting up to more Digimon and making sure that they are dead, so it doesn't trigger any form of like ace shenanigans and so forth. Because obviously this deck is still kind of susceptible to de-digivolve. But you could run the Namekimon from kind of the pulse line, because it is a puppet, and you can throw that down and obviously give it that DP minus protection, and also digivolve protection if you are 3 or more security. So very strong right here. Also, just to mention, the starter main and also the wind revolving, able to get a token out is still really strong, and it's going to help massively in order for you to fully abuse the Kogayomon. This is going to be the card that you just want to get into first, and then focus on getting into Sendril second. This is why I kind of go with a 3-3 split, because they're both equally as good, but obviously this is probably the card that you want to go into. Realistically, you don't really want to have 2 of these out. I don't think you need necessarily 2 of them out, but it would be great. It's not necessarily bad if 2 of them are out on the field, but if you can get a Sindrel that's obviously got that overclock, you're going to be really clapping cheeks, especially obviously with the alliance and also the blocker there as well. It means that effectively, you might just want to swing once, but you still do really high damage, meaning that your Sindrel can also be a blocker along with this, and then also stop any form of attacks coming, well, basically being initiated by popping a token or a puppet traded Digimon. And then on top of that, obviously it's going to be great for that further control. Like I say, we have DP minusing, and also we have just standard deletion now, which is going to be massive for us to effectively kind of get around some protections if necessary. And then also just that kind of recursion from playing level 4 low with puppet traded Digimon from trash is going to be huge. Ideally, we just want to kind of get our promo out, which effectively, well, promo Shushu, where effectively play that out and also get a token out to the end of the opponent's turn. And then what's going to happen is that at the end of the opponent's turn, that familiar token is going to die, and then the alternative of this, if it hasn't triggered once already, is then going to pop off there and absolutely just end the opponent's career. So we don't run any level 7s. Don't think it necessarily needs it, though subject to change. So this is where it kind of gets a little bit spicy, and this is probably the card that it could be anything. But the reason why I do like Hell Flame Scythe is, one, obviously we've got access to yellow and purple, which is good. But the thing here is that it's that further little bit of control whilst you're actually getting benefit to your game plan. So it does play cost of 6, so depending obviously on our memory, we're going to either be passing the opponent full 6 or, anything less. So one of your opponent gets minus 6k DP for the turn, then you may play one purple or yellow card, yellow Digimon card with 6,000 DP or less from trash without paying the cost, which is going to be good for us because effectively if we do have our promo Shushu, we can just play that off this, delete the opponent's Digimon, and then we basically get our own play, get a familiar token out, which is great. Obviously on top of like our already minus DP and effects, just this being able to effectively, push that even further really leaves the opponent in a sticky situation. So I do like Hell Flame Scythe, or Flame Hell Scythe, but it can literally be anything. This is what I'm kind of testing at the moment. I think it's gonna be pretty cool interaction. Then we go over to the kind of the consistency booster / memory manipulator cards. So we have just reduced Scramble down to 1. I think with the amount of kind of recursion that we do get now from basically our line, I feel like you could probably get away with lowering this down a little bit, which is okay. But the thing that I've actually incorporated is memory boost. Sometimes we just need to dig a little bit deeper than 2. And I've definitely found myself in situations where just digging a little bit deeper has definitely helped us. And then on top of that, being able to choose when we, increase our memory is going to be beneficial for us to extend our plays and so forth. It really depends on the setup, but this is definitely going to be helpful for us to just be a bit more versatile than just not being very linear in terms of like doing the training, I have to evo into something, which isn't always the play that I want to do, but because we have them out, it's kind of the direction that you kind of got to go into. So it just adds another a play line, let's just say. Obviously we are at risk of kind of bot decking our Tamers and so forth, but hopefully, you're not an idiot. You can play this when you need to play it if you already have the Tamers. then just play it, and obviously you searching out for a Digimon at that point. Obviously, if you are searching out for Tamers, we still run the physical training at 3. We've always run it at 3. I feel like 3 is just a perfect amount. Can run 4 if you want to, but obviously that digging 2 is always going to be nice in order for us to kind of, you know, extend our plays or pop off, which is going to be very beneficial for us. And then in terms of the Tamers, so the Tamers, as you can see, there's no starter deck Orisa in here. That's subject to change. I think at the moment, I don't think we necessarily need Rush, but the yellow memory boost does cover the aspect of like being choked. No one likes to be choked. It's awful. But I feel like the Rush isn't necessarily needed, because realistically we just want to kind of build out wide and then win in that sense, because we do have an alliance now. We can be a lot more aggressive with our push turn, but we still need our essentially our Orisa EX7 in order for us to kind of play our puppets when a puppet or token is deleted, which is going to be helpful for us, because then we can play out our level 3. And depending on obviously our level 3s, we do get the wrong plays. If we get Hanimon, we could actually do a bit more recursion and get a key piece that we need to by trashing one of the cards and so forth, which is going to be good. If we do happen to want to do a bit of searching, we do have our searcher. And then if we do want to essentially try and build up a cheeky second line, let's just say, on our next turn, at least we can go out with the EX7 shoe, meaning that we can be a lot more memory efficient and hopefully climb up and turbo into another level 6 of our choice. So we do run that at 2, and obviously gaining that memory if the opponent has a Digimon is always going to be nice. We do run the Mirai Kinasangi at 3. Realistically, this is essentially just another consistency card, which is going to be helpful for us in order to, you know, get our pieces when needed. Obviously, it's only going to be kind of grabbing us one piece, which is absolutely fine. But the fact that it's so versatile in terms of setup, and if we have multiples of these, it's going to be huge, because we can really kind of pretty much either, you know, get more puppet Digimon out, we can either get our Tamers out. It's just, once again, very explosive of how this card works by just basically bottom decking it and just getting absolute value to cover kind of the bases that we need to in order for our other cards to be a lot more effective. I think the cool interaction here with this card is effectively just being able to play another puppet by having its play cost reduced by 3 is going to be huge, and that's why we do have the yellow memory boost in order for us to effectively comfortably bring out a level 5 for play cost of 4, which then effectively we can then kind of evo into our top end without passing over too much memory, or even if you activate a training right there, so we can even be even more efficient there too. But the thing that's really cool, and the thing I'm kind of testing out, is going to be the promo Orisa. I think the thing that this fills is effectively it does the thing that Mirai can do, but doing both and then setting up. So if we didn't manage to play out a puppet trade Digimon, maybe that's not the play. Maybe we want to play out another Orisa. We can play out this promo Orisa, and then effectively we get it on play to then play out a shoe. So effectively we've kind of done both. We've played out a puppet traded Digimon. Granted, you know, no need to reduce the cost on it because we just play a Shumon for free, and then we also get this set up. And then on top of that, when we kind of evo into so say for example, let's run the playthrough. So let's just say we have two of those set up, 2 Mirai set up. We evo into promo shoe. Promo shoe effectively is then going to, you know, play out a token. We don't trigger the Mirai effect yet, but then we evo into this. Say if we pop her, let's just say we pop her a training. Go into this. From there, an evo has triggered. So what we will do, we will utilize the Mirai effect to bot deck this, to then play this. So what that means is that we effectively play a Tamer out, and then we also play a puppet traded Digimon, which is absolutely fine. And let's just say, for example, we do that twice. So we've played the 2 of these out, then effectively we have now got, we have the promo shoe, we've got a token, and we've got 2 more shoes out. So basically we've got 4 Digimon out like that, and we've got two of these out. Then effectively what's going to happen is that this one Digivolving effect is then going to delete a token or puppet traded Digimon. So we'll delete the token, that promo shoe popped out, to then evo into either Cinderella or Kyugamon. So we'll go into this. What we'll then do, and obviously that's going to cost us for free, what we'll do, we'll suspend both of these and we'll net 2 memory. So we've literally netted 2 memory, climbed up into this to further do some more cheeky plays. And this is what I kind of like here. It kind of just makes this a little bit more versatile while setting up. Granted, there's a lot of high roll potential out there. There's a lot of sell up and so forth. But even just having one of these out is pretty powerful. On top of that, because of the amount of shoes that we do have, this is just very strong. Great for us to obviously memory manipulate and make our evos cheaper. Effectively, when we're kind of getting into, you know, if we've established board with this and it passes back to our turn, it means that effectively we have a free evo into one of our Digimon, especially like, you know, going into a champion, that's a free evo, and then going into one of our then level 5s, which effectively we can go into this, and then once again further pop off. So I do feel like this has a lot of potential. I think when we go into BT22, we do get another shoe. Depending on what that shoe does, the value of this could even go up further. Even just having this, throwing this out early, and then just throwing out a shoe, just gives us a bit more board presence a little bit earlier there too. Just adds that nice bit of versatility. Obviously, you know, we don't have the starter deck Arissa here, and I do think, like, yeah, the memory token can be annoying, and it certainly can be annoying, but I think that's where, hopefully, Yellow Men Bruce are going to come clutch, and also where physical training is going to definitely help out, and if not, Yellow Scramble to be a little bit more memory efficient there too. So that's a list I'm kind of cooking at the moment. I think, obviously, the first thing we'll probably, you know, cut will maybe the Hell Flame Scythe. I did think of the tactical retreat, which would be quite funny. So obviously we just kind of spawned out Digimon. The fact that this actually spawns out level 4 or lower, not necessarily by play cost, really gives a bit of strength to this. Because if we did do tactical retreat, we just literally throw this back in our security, because tactical retreat is not based on, it's not based on like you're trashing the top card to return back, like similar to like Pulsemon's Hacker's Pride. It's not like that. It's literally just return one of your Digimon to your security, and then effectively this can then trigger its security effect to effectively, you know, play out. We could play out this, we could play out this, we could play out that from hand for free if the opponent checks our security. Just for a little note, things like that, kind of restabilize, kind of janky, but it's a play. It's a play per se. But I do like the Hell Flame Scythe. I think it does kind of make sense, just for that nice little bit of deletion, making our security just a little bit more spicy there too. But overall, I think the new support's going to be freaking solid. I'm looking forward to EX9 now. It was going to be a set I was going to absolute skip. There was nothing in there that was spicy. I'm like, don't really bother about DM trait. Nah, miss me with that. Wing Guardian, nah, I'm not really fussed, but just this additional support has just absolutely got me locked in. But guys, that is your boy done. What is your impressions of the new puppet support? Are you excited? Are you converting over to the Cinderella puppet line in the next set? Drop it in the comments, let me know. But guys, stay safe, stay fly, and I'll catch you in the next one. That's your boy D Dread, off the mic.